Good evening. This is Thomas Simpson with Afro Solo TV. With Afro Solo, we talk about, we discuss, we deal with African Americans and people from the African diaspora as related to the arts and to our lives today. We've had some wonderful guests here, and tonight is no exception. We have an exceptional person who's been involved with the arts here for more than 10 years. And even before that, being involved with the arts as a PR person. So she's in the know. She knows what's going on. What we're going to be talking about on this program is the San Francisco Black Film Festival. So, without further ado, let me introduce Ave Montague. Ave, how are you doing?
Fine, Thomas. How are you?
I'm doing very, very good. Could you tell us a little bit about who Miss Montague is?
I'm still trying to figure it out. But
I understand.
My story is, I'm not going to change it, is that by day I'm a PR person, and in the evening I work on my film festival and weekends. So I've been doing PR for almost 20 years. I started with the Lorraine Hansberry Theater as a PR person, and then I went out on my own, and all I had was really $200, a old computer, but a bulging Rolodex, and I think that's what got me through. And so, as we say, I'm 20 hours late. Right, the rest is history. So about 10 years ago, I figured I didn't have enough to do, so I decided to do a black film festival.
So when did you first get involved with films kind of in your life? Do you remember
I've always loved film, but I never in a million years expected to do a film festival. I was the PR person for Black Filmmakers Hall of Fame.
Okay.
So I was, introduced to film, but not really, sort of on the surface, just dealing with people who came to town. And after that, I set up a website called amvideos.com where people could actually purchase black films. So it was sort of a transition. And then, as I said, one day 10 years ago, I said, well, let's, what about a film festival? Because basically there are many ethnic film festivals in San Francisco. However, there was no black film festival.
Okay, before we get to that, though, we want to find out a little bit more about Ave.
Oh, about
Where
me.
did you grow up?
I grew up in Jersey, New Jersey, as we say, Jersey.
New Jersey girl?
Right. Went to school in New York, went to FIT. I have a degree in marketing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Now, do you remember the first film you saw that had an impact on you?
I saw some stuff like in the early, not in the early, but in the 70s. And I don't remember names. Of course, everyone saw Sweet Sweetback because we just wanted to see those black images on film. And then there's one with Ivan Dixon. I can't remember, One Potato Chip, something like that. So, yeah.
Well, I think I have a few years on you.
Okay.
I remember the old Sidney Poitier films, Heat of the Night, and the ones he did of Lilies Field.
Right.
And I remember I grew up in Nashville, and there was one theater that we could go to. It was all black because it was segregated at that time, and we had to walk probably 6 miles to get to it. And it was this wonderful place, and it was the only place we could go to see black artist, on the big screen. So was it one of them in the 70s, or is one that kind of comes to mind for you that was significant for you?
Well, as I said, Sweetback, and I remember we didn't even go to a theater. We went to it was a drive-in, and everybody was there, so it's just to see these images, and it was Sweetback was very bold for its time.
Yes.
So it was really good. So that really, stayed with me for a while.
So something sort of clicked.
Right, absolutely.
And something was sort of like put on hold.
Right. So we'll use that later.
Use that later. From some of the films that you've seen, or some of the directors that you have know of, or worked with, or have been in contact with, do you have any idols or people that you highly respect?
I don't know them as idols, but I mean the people that I really respect: Spike Lee, St. Clair Bourne, who died recently. He was a fabulous documentary filmmaker, and there are some other, there are younger filmmakers that are coming. I really like their work because you can see the transition, things that are happening. Like a Malcolm Lee, who is related to Spike Lee. He did The Best Man. He's a good filmmaker too.
Wonderful. As I think about you and your connection to Afro Solo, when you had this idea of starting this film festival, I remember you coming to some of the workshops that we used to do on how to go about getting funding.
Money.
And one of the things I really admire about you is that you took that information, you used it, and you work towards your goal of having this festival.
Right.
So that really makes me feel good.
Well, thank you.
I know some other people came and got different ideas, but I really like that you took the ball, you had your goal, and you are doing it.
Right.
And in terms of doing it, this year is a big celebration year.
Absolutely, it's 10 years. I mean, just like a flash in the pan. From 1 day to 10 days. It's unbelievable.
Like, what happened?
I don't know. I'm still, I think I'm like Rip Van Winkle, I'm still asleep. I have no idea.
I know sometimes with Afro Solo, I'll look back at some of the things that we've done and I think, my God, that's wonderful.
Right.
Who did that?
That's right.
Oh,
that's right.
Do you have those moments?
Right. I do. And then I have some embarrassing moments, like when I look at my first invitation that went out, compared to what we do now. But it was good because it was a transition, and you have to have goals. So I look at some of those things. Look at the films, and the films have really changed in 10 years. So that's really exciting. Yeah.
So if there's some young person out there who may be interested in doing something like a film festival or something artsy, what would be your sort of ideas or suggestions for them in those beginning years? Like you said, you think about your invitations. Right. But at that time, they were fantastic.
Right, but now,
but someone who's getting ready and starting now, and I know you're mentoring a couple of people anyway, but what do you share with people in terms of starting out?
You have to do it. Because if you don't do it, you'll say, oh my God, why didn't, I should have done that, or I wonder if you have an idea, it's a leap of faith, because no one, you don't know if you're going to sink or swim. You just have to do it and say, this is what I'm going to do. And it's so easy to make films now. You get some software, and everyone is a filmmaker. I mean, look at YouTube. That's a perfect example. The good, the bad, and the ugly, they're all there. So that's, I hate to coin a phrase that's being used every day, but you have to just do it.
Well, that's is a phrase that's often used, but it's a phrase that makes a lot of sense.
Right.
And it sounds so simple, but as Idris, Ackerman would say to me, sometimes it's a little bit more than a notion.
Oh, absolutely.
But you've got to start somewhere.
Right.
And what you were saying about your invitation, now you sort of look at it with a little bit of like, ooh, did I really do that?
Right, exactly.
Is you've got to start somewhere.
Absolutely.
Got to start somewhere
right.
if you really want to do it, and not necessarily try to compete with someone who's been around 10 years.
You have to put your own stamp on things. I mean, I'm a black film festival, and I take a little liberty. I said, well, I can do things a little bit differently. I don't have to fall into the mold of another film festival. I don't have to follow their footsteps, although I use them as a guide for the international. I mean, I love what international does. I love their PR person, and I always follow, try to follow her lead, as far as deadlines are concerned, what she talks about. But you have to do it yourself if you have to, or you'll never know if it works or not.
Another thing that I found here in San Francisco is that people are willing to help.
Yeah, they are. To a degree.
To a degree, yes, but there are people who are willing to help. There are some funders who give you a little seed money to kind of give you enough to sort of check and see if you're really going to use it the way you said you would, and then that will lead to other things.
Right.
But I think in terms of arts, San Francisco is sort of a hotbed.
Absolutely.
And if you really want to do something, there's someone out there that will help you jump in and help you make it. And in terms of some of the filmmakers that you've worked with, the local filmmakers, I'm thinking particularly about the young man who did the piece out of Hunter.
Straight out of Hunter's Point. Kevin Epps.
So tell me a little bit about your history with him.
Well, Kevin came, I think it must have been our third or fourth year, and I think he walked into my office and said, I have a film. And as with everything, Kevin is always like, we were probably closing the books, and said, Kevin, I can't take another film. But he brought the film in, and I watched it, and I said, this is something here. It was a part of our culture that I was not aware of, so I thought it was necessary. So we did a premiere. We did it at ZM. We had ZM that year, and we ended up doing like 3 or 4 screenings.
Yes, I was there for
right.
them.
Okay, and now Kevin has made Straight Out Hunters Point 2. I have not seen that, but Kevin has gone on to do some great things, and Kevin is like, forget the mayor. Kevin is so well connected, well connected. So he can pull a few strings and get stuff done.
And one nice thing about him too is he's got a a kind heart. And he's got a good head on his shoulder.
Right, he is. He's very, he's good. He has some common sense, which is what you need. He's not only creative, and he's a self-taught filmmaker.
Yes.
I mean, so it shows you anyone can make films. That's right.